What's happening, people? Welcome to another episode of the Flex and Rants show, man. First of all, we're in different settings. We're not on location today, so there's no graffiti behind us. Big shout out to UFF. They've let us use their studios today or their offices because we've had a mad week. Obviously, we have to put the show out a day late because of the Tottenham game, which was very, very disappointing. But before we talk about that Tottenham game, we always start with dissecting the performance. But before we do that, there's been a lot made in the fan base. So much going on. Mourinho losing his head in press conferences, pundits having their say, fans having their say. But there's been a lot made with fans. A lot of fans saying that, you know, back the club, back the manager, back the team. Some people, Jose out, whatever you want to make it. It's all about opinions. But what I have felt on social media as well, there's a lot of fans kind of maybe assuming that you're less of a fan because you want Mourinho out or you want change, and kind of making people feel like, you know, they're less of a fan for doing that. Where do you stand on that? Because it's all about opinion, isn't it?
Yeah, but people say back the club. What is the club then? What are we backing? Do you know what I mean? When someone say back the club, are we backing the heritage of the club, what we know the club as? Are we backing the owners and how the club's run? Are we backing the manager? They're not all the same things. Do you know what I mean? If you're genuinely backing the club and the heritage of the club and what the club's about, the football that we're meant to be playing, the philosophy that we have, the ethos that we have, then it's only right that you're not happy with the owners, and it's only right that you're not happy with the manager and the style of play, because the manager does not play Manchester United football. So if you're not happy with the football and the way the manager is picking the team and his ethos, then it's because you're probably a Manchester United fan. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's it there. You hit the nail on the head. Like,
that's probably why.
I think it's very important to remember there is a clear, they're all different things. So backing the club means that, for me, you obviously want the team to do well and be successful. Yeah. I think where it comes to backing a manager, yes, you're a fan, so you should be there for the good times and the bad. I think that should be reflected as in, you don't stop supporting your team because you're doing bad. So when people want us to lose and stuff like that, exactly, we're still going in full force. Yeah,
we're still going, we're still supporting, we still want them to win. Like, there was even people saying, oh, would you take a loss to Tottenham, if it means that Jose gets sacked? I'm like, no, because I'm not trying to lose to anyone. Do you know what I'm saying? No, like, I want the club to win first and foremost. And then I want them to win playing the way we're meant to play football, bruv. We're not doing either of the above. So my thing is, everyone was like, yeah, Jose is a serial winner and this, that and the other. But if he's not winning stuff for you, what does he bring? Because he doesn't play Manchester United football. Like, I don't have any affinity with the club, I mean with him, like, as our manager, because he's not a Manchester United manager. Every time he talks about the club, he talks about himself as a separate entity. He never says we or us. It's, I've won this, I've done this, I've been here. I knocked you guys out twice. Do you know what I'm saying? I've won 3 Premier League titles. It's always about him. He never speaks about the club like it's us, because he's not us. Do you know what I mean? He's him.
I think there's a lot of people who would echo that. Yeah. There's, you know, I think right from the beginning, if you actually break it down, I think that him living in a hotel, I know some people may not see that as a big issue. And if I'm honest, when I first found that out, I was a bit like, oh, okay, well, whatever. But then, if you actually break it down, it probably almost does send a little bit of a message as to, well, I'm not here for the long run. I just need a place to put my head down quickly. Do you know what I mean?
If it was a player and they were living in a hotel, everyone would be like, yeah. Like, what's going on? Do you know what I mean? They would rent places or stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? But the fact he's living in a hotel, cool. He says that that's all right. But he gave us all the impression that he was coming in. He respected the heritage of the club. He wanted to play a certain kind of football. He was saying, I respect and I know what it means to be a Manchester United manager. So he sold me a dream, because, like, it's not even personal with Jose. When he was at Chelsea and he come in as that cocky little idiot, I liked him.
I loved that. I did.
You know what I mean? I liked it, but we haven't seen that here. I mean, the young Jose, the ballsy Jose that was calling people out and that, like, I was all for that. Like, I liked that. What we've seen is someone completely different. Like, the football's crap. Like, it is... At the moment, it's on par with the David Moyes football that man's seen, in terms of how disjointed it feels in the dressing room, how the players aren't responding to him. It feels like David Moyes all over again. We just have better players now. But the atmosphere feels exactly the same. And anyone telling you it doesn't, like, they're lying to themselves, bro.
I think, what about the people the fans that say you know, it's tough. He's here, and so long as he's the manager, back him through to the end. I think I remember I done a really good fan cam with a guy. Well, you was there, and he said, back him or sack him. So the fact that he's still here, and we know what our board's like, looking at the monetary side of things, and if we're in the top 4, it's going to be good for them. So for me, I think regarding there isn't a whole mass fallout and we're miles off the top 4 by Christmas, they're not going to sack him. So is it not a case of then, do you know what? We just have to just get fully behind Jose and trust. Well, maybe not don't have to trust, but is it not a case of just back him and keep backing him because he is the manager and he's not going anywhere right now?
Yeah, but that's divisive. Like, so what? We just put up with it because he's it. Nah, fuck that, innit? Like, at the end of the day, we back the team, innit? We back the club. Like, we want the manager to do well because we want the team to do well. But look how negative he's been, his attitude. He's made plenty of mistakes. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, all the problems at the club are not his doing. However, there's certain things that you have to take responsibility for, bruv, and it's just never his fault, bruv. Do you know what I mean? And as I said, he makes sure that he clarifies there's a sheer significance and a difference between the club and himself and what he's achieved and what the club are achieving. He doesn't talk about it as one thing. You know what I mean? He sees it as a very separate situation. Do you know what I mean? So because of that, I can't love you because you don't love the club the way we love the club. Like, you don't. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're lucky to be here, bro.
But is that because Sir Alex obviously is Sir Alex and spent over 2 decades here loving the club and it was almost his gem? Can we expect another manager to love the club how we love it? Like, are we expecting too much?
But then, if you're not doing what you're meant to do, fuck off. That's my thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, football's changed. We're not going to get these 10, 20-year managers now. It's a 3-4 year project, and it's a revolving door. Same with football players. We're not going to probably get another Ryan Giggs or another Paul Scholes. Do you know what I mean? We're not going to get the Steven Gerrards that stay at one club for their whole... Like, we're not going to get that no more. Football changes, innit? So because of that, football's a results business, bro. Like, what are you doing? Know what I mean? You're not improving players. You're not developing players. So if you're not developing, then the players you need to bring in need to hit the ground running. They're not doing that either. Do you know what I mean? The signings you've made, you haven't been able to get the best out of any of them. The players that you currently have, you haven't been able to get the best out of any of them. And you're just asking for more money, more money. Sometimes you can't throw money at a problem, bro. You've had over 400 million. No one could tell me he hasn't been backed. I'm not hearing that. If 400 million's not being backed, then I don't know what the fuck is. Do you know what I mean? So with the board, because I know we look at all aspects and you don't want people to get the wrong idea and think that, you know, what you're saying is that it's all Jose's fault, because you've said many a times it's not. Yeah, you've clarified it many a times. But the board, like we said before, they gave him an extension. So should that... I know you could argue that why would they give him more money? Because that's what you feel. But it's surely, if they've given him the money, whether we think it's right or wrong, that means that you have to then deliver the targets. And I go back to that fan cam with that gentleman. He was actually spot on. He was quite animated and he made me laugh when I think back. But realistically, he was right. He was saying they gave him an extension. That is a vote of confidence in anyone's eyes. So if you extend someone's contract, and they extended it off the back of not great results or football, really, let's face it. He wasn't doing anything spectacular, but they decided to extend it. At that stage, I don't know about you, but I definitely thought they obviously believe in him. Right, to be fair, it settled that down, because at that time he was talking about PSG and there was a bit of rumours, but then a couple of months later where they went boom. I believe that he done the flirting with PSG thing because he genuinely was speaking to them and he wanted to put pressure on the board to give him that extension. That's what I believe.
So you think that they probably done it so that he maybe didn't move, not because they truly believed in him?
Yep, you was talking about, oh, my son went over to Paris and all this bullshit. Bruv, he was talking to them. He wanted to leave. Don't get it twisted. Do you know what I'm saying? And he wanted that extra money. He wanted that security because Jose is a smart man. He always gets sacked. He never walks because he gets his payoff. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a reason why the board only gave him a 1-year extension. They didn't give him a brand new contract.
Because it didn't even, when you actually think of the extension, it wasn't like with Spurs, they are giving real extensions. Harry Kane signing a 6-year deal, Eriksen, Ali, whoever, Pochettino, 6-year
extension when we're going to sell them the next season so we can get some money for them.
It was only an extra year on top of what he already had.
There you go. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think it was a vote of confidence. It was a security thing. Do you know what I mean? It was a business decision from the board to say, you know what, we're giving that extra year just in case we can't find no one. They never knew that Zidane was going to become available. But they said, you know what, we'll give him like an extra year and then, do you know what I mean? We'll see where we go from here. You know
That enters into like a bit about biding time. That's been flying around a lot, especially with certain players. There's rumours or stories or whatever you want to call it that Martial's biding his time, that Pogba's biding his time. Yeah. Do you think the board then are just completely just biding their time with Jose?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they will know what's going on downstairs, innit? There's too many disgruntled players. There's too many. And they're influential players, and they're our best players as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not your fringe players that aren't playing.
Your Darmians or the Fellaini's.
It's not the fringe players. It's the players that are playing, and they're still like, right, this is kind of shit. Do you know what I mean? When you're getting players come out in the press and saying, I can't say anything because I'll get fined and that, like, there's something fundamentally wrong, bruv. Like, and these things aren't happening at any other football club. They're not. They're not happening at our rivals. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not happening at our rivals.
Does that blow our problems up even more? The fact that Liverpool are starting to play good football, they play great football, they've addressed their problems, their issue areas, and look like they're going in the right direction. Manchester City are doing what Manchester City are doing. So that's almost like extra salt on the wounds, isn't it? Like the fact that our two biggest rivals are doing well.
Absolutely, it is. It makes things worse. But I feel like because the club was so set up so badly anyway, we've always been taking 2 steps forward and a step back, bro, from the recruitment of David Moyes. Do you know what I mean? Because as I said before, we're always buying players and getting rid of the players that the previous managers brought in. We're always just smothering our own work. Like, there's no clear progression. Do you know what I mean? Whereas with Klopp, he's come in, he's seen certain players, he got rid of a bag of players. Klopp come into a shit squad, bruv. Like, a proper shit squad, like the Skirtles and that, bruv. And he got rid of all of them. And all the players he's brought in, like, he hasn't had a 100% success rate with his signings, but I don't record any players that he's brought in and he sold already. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he's brought in players that have bettered the team consistently. When he first came in Jan and he couldn't really sign no one. And you saw, even though the points weren't changing for Liverpool, the style of play, and you could see it getting better. Then the season after, added a few, got better. Then he added a few, got better, get into finals. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so
clear progression.
Clear progression year on year on year with the football and the players and the profile of the players he's bringing in.
With us, we don't see...
With us, Jose was bringing in a bag of tall people, then he brings in Fred, and then it's like, bro, like, what are we doing? Like what are we doing? Do you know what I mean? It's like, either we want big guys, or we want quick guys, or we want small guys, what do we want, bruv? Like, because we don't have a style of play, so when you decide who you're bringing in, what are you basing it on? Because we don't have an ethos. Like, do you know what I mean? Every time we play a team, we put out a completely different 11 because we play every game like it's a cup final. Like, we're just trying to get through that result and grind it out and stifle this team. We don't have a clear idea of how we want to play football every week. Do you see what I'm saying? We don't have a formation. We don't have a partnership at the back. We don't have anything. It's all, every game is just a one-off fucking cup final.
Can we, and again, it's just me looking at both sides of the arguments, can we be fully critical of Jose if the board are refusing to give him the tools that he needs to do the job that he wants to do? Is that a bit unfair to say? Because then we're almost, he's not allowed, maybe hasn't been allowed, depending on how you look at it, maybe he hasn't been allowed to be the Jose he's wanted to be because the board have stopped him, and then that there again goes back to the board of why you appointing this guy if you know that this and this is his style and it's what he's going to want.
That's why it's a shambles. Everyone knows that Jose doesn't change, innit? He said the right things when he came in, but he's not going to change. That's why I think it's a shambles. The board, as I said before, it was a panic bringing in Jose. City got Pep. The board shit themselves and was like, oh, we have to get Jose now. Like, Jose's not a Manchester United manager. He never was. He doesn't play the right way. He doesn't have the right attitude. He's a negative guy. We're a front foot, positive, attacking club. He was the worst person stylistically for that job. Do you know what I mean? Like, when the Barcelona job came available, he wanted it, and they said, hell no, bruv.
Because they stuck to their principles and their values.
Stuck to their principles. We didn't. Do you know what I mean? And that's how we ended up with him in the first place. So it's not 100% his fault. If we bought Jose all of his fucking 45-year-old players he wanted, yeah, we probably would have won more. Do you know what I'm saying? But then the next manager would have had a shitload of rebuilding.
Would you have taken that? Because then that goes into the next argument, which is about style over trophies. And if Jose was to buy a whole bunch of sub-30 players, 33, 30 plus, and stabilise us in terms of just get us a Premier League, then leave it for the next manager, do you think we'd be in a mess then? Because we'd have just
we'd have to spend the money all over again to replace them. That's not stable. Do you know what I mean? That's not stable at all. Like what the board fucked up and done was, if you wanted a long-term manager, someone that was gonna nurture the talent that we already have, because we have a lot of young talent, and we had the one of the youngest squads in the Premier League before Jose came. It was us and Tottenham. I think there was a year difference. We had a 24-year-old average age. Tottenham had 23. So then you bring in a manager that doesn't really know how to develop young players. Like, you don't do that. You know what I mean? If you were thinking forward as the board, you bring in a manager that can work with young players and also would want to bring in young players. Like, even when you look at Liverpool, how old is Van Dijk? 27? He's the oldest player that they brought in. You see what I'm trying to say?
It's prime, yeah.
You see what I'm trying to say? And that's the difference. Like, these men, for the whole 5 years in their contract, they're playing through their prime, or they're coming into their prime. We're buying players like Matic. He's good, but he's past his best. You know what I mean? Matic won't improve now.
He's reached his peak.
Yeah, he's peaked. Yeah. You're getting linked with guys like Willian, who's peaked. Do you know what I mean? All these men are just peaked, fam. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it is. That's him. He's a short-term manager. He's a quick fix. He's a patch job. There's a few holes, patch it up, give it a quick paint job. That's what Jose does. And then the foundations fucking fall down a few years after. You know what I mean?
We're left to pick up the rest of the pieces.
That's what I mean.
It certainly seems like it could be heading that way. On Jose Mourinho now, I know nearly all of you have probably seen the press conference. I got to be honest, when I saw it the first time...
That was Sevilla all over again.
Yeah, but worse. It was Sevilla all over again, but worse. When I saw it the first time, I kind of thought, oh, typical Jose. Then, you know, the next day you're on social media just dissecting the loss, you're taking your L's, you're getting a banter, and I thought, let me just watch it again, because it was on all the news things. I thought, let me watch the whole thing. When I saw it the second time, and then even the third time, I thought, how dare you? I actually thought, how dare you, in my opinion, because I thought, all you've done, again, is made it about you.
Yep.
You're telling us you won 3 Premier League trophies, not at us, you haven't.
Yeah.
And... you're saying put respect on your name, but...
like the name of the club.
Exactly. Put respect on the name of the club. And also, he mocked Arsene Wenger for being exactly the same thing, 3 Premier League trophies. And he absolutely mocked him and didn't show him no respect.
Specialist for failure.
But now, exactly, specialist of failure. But now you want to come out, Jose. I'm saying it as if he's watching this. That's how much it pissed me off. But I honestly thought... I turned it off after halfway through the third time, because I just thought, nah... It seemed like he was taking the piss there. Like, how can you talk about put respect on my name, me, talking about what you've done in the past, but at this precise moment, that's a point there where it shows that is he losing the plot in terms of, like, he's really feeling the pressure and he's in a really bad place. Yeah,
but that's just all it is, man. That's all it is. Like, a lot of people, even the players, they say they don't realize how big the club is until they step into it. Do you know what I mean? Jose, this is the first time Jose has, like, he's felt this, you know?
It looked like he almost like, oh, he's cracking. Yeah. That's what it looked like.
When he was at Real Madrid, it's not the same, innit? The Real Madrid fans will boo you, they'll whistle and all of that, but then, yeah, whatever, they'll go home, innit? Yeah. Like, yeah, not here, bruv. You know what I mean? Not here. Like, this pressure's different. Do you know what I mean? This pressure's just real different, man. You know what I mean? So it's just one of them things where, I don't know. I just feel like he don't want it no more. Like, when he went over and clapped the fans after that game.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that as the next thing.
It looked like he knows, innit? Like, he knows that something's coming for him.
What, like the pressure's on?
Yeah, bro. The Grim Reaper's coming for him, bro. Like, he knows it.
Do you think the fans who done that, there was a lot made about that as well, as to, was Jose milking that just to... Because he never does that. He never does that, yeah.
Bro, he's a calculated guy. He was saying to the board, look, see, they're still behind me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
But then the stretch for them to stand up and clapping him, they are behind him, though.
That's why. But they're going to do that because we're the fans. Do you know what I mean? If he comes up to us, we're not going to say, oh, fuck off. Do you know what I mean?
Would you stand and clap him?
No, I wouldn't clap him. Do you know what I mean? But if he comes and he's clapping us, fair enough, I'll clap him back. But I'm not going to clap him for no reason, bro, because I don't think he deserves an applause. I'm still yet to see what I associate with the club under him. Like, we haven't played good for 90 minutes ever under Jose Mourinho. We play in spells. You can't tell me that's the players, bro. Do you know what I mean? When we had played good from the first to the last whistle, it's never happened. Even last season when we were winning 4-0 and that, we were playing good for 20 minutes and blowing teams away.
Then it was bad a bad start, bad middle part. I remember the Swansea game was like that when we beat them 4-0, and you look at a match of the day and think flipping it. But looking back to that, it was just a flurry of goals at the end.
I can't remember what game it was now that I was watching, but it was so tight, bro. And then we like banged in 3 goals in like the last 10 minutes, and then we won 4-1. And all of a sudden, it just looked like we absolutely walloped them, but we didn't. Do you know what I mean? And this is what it's been like under him the whole time. We haven't put together a 90-minute performance. We don't know who our starting 11 is, our best starting 11. He doesn't know. He doesn't know who plays best where. He doesn't know our best shape, anything. He doesn't know any of this. Do you know what I mean? I can't blame the board for that, bro. You have these man every day of the week and you still don't know what your best team is, who your best players are, where to play people. Still haven't seen Sanchez on the right yet. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? Like there's only so many excuses. Like you can say he hasn't got his he hasn't been backed, but then the flip side is maybe the board are looking at it like saying, yo, we've given you 400 million, we've got potential worldies here, and you're not getting the best out of them. You're actually fucking up our investment. Like Ed might say, yo, like I spent 36 million on Martial, rising up to 50 odd million because I know he's a £100 million player. Why does he look like a £30 player under you, Jose?
30. I thought he was going to say 30 million.
Yeah. Why does he look like a £30 player? No, I'm not selling him. You know why? Because if he has one good season, he's worth 110 million. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what's his name? Mbappe went for like 120. Dembele went for 140. Do you know what I mean? If Martial's playing week in, week out, he's worth at least 110 million. Martial would have gone for about 50 million in the summer if we sold him. Ed would have lost money. So he's looking at Jose saying, yo, that's my investment, you know, that you're fucking with. Because these are money men. These are money men. So from a business point of view, like what? Do you buy a house and then sell it for the same money? No, you fucking don't, bro.
Definitely not less.
Do you know what I mean? You don't sell it for less. So that's how Ed's looking at it. You know what I mean? Ed's like, nah. That was my investment. You're not fucking with this. So I'm not selling him. It's the same with Pogba. If Pogba went this summer, Pogba's a £200 million player if he's playing. But because Pogba's not playing well, we bought him for 90. We might sell him for 120, 130. That's shit business, bro.
It just doesn't make sense to the club to be doing that.
Winner. Nah. Do you know what I'm saying? Fuck all that, man. That's how you have to look at it. These men are businessmen, innit? Woodward knows. When I brought in these guys, I knew how much potentially I could sell them on for. There you go. So I completely understand why Ed's like, no, I'm not giving you no more money because you're pissing my money away.
What do you lot think about that? I mean, it's an interesting point because there's so many different conflicting arguments as to why the board haven't backed him, you know? Some people see it as the board is just terrible and don't know what they're doing themselves. That's why they've got the free. That's why they've got free managers like this.
And they don't.
And then some people see it as just like fair play to the board in terms of, do you know what? You've given him up to 400 plus, and he hasn't spent well. So why give him more? It doesn't make business sense. What do you lot think? Drop your views in the comments in the boxes below on that.
Business wise, Ed Woodward's a shrewd businessman. Do you know what I mean? Even from the fax machine David De Gea thing, the guy knows when shit don't make sense, innit? Like when it comes to money and that, Ed knows his thing. When it comes to football, he doesn't know shit, innit? From a financial point of view, I can understand why they tighten the purse on Jose, because the next manager that comes in, they're going to back, because they gave LVG 250 million. So this myth that they're not backing managers, I'm not having it. They gave Jose 400, they gave LVG 250, and they even bought fucking Fellaini, bruv, even though they didn't want Fellaini.
We spent over 700 million.
750 million since post-Alex Ferguson. A man is saying that they're not backing the manager.
Nearly £1 billion.
Bro, that's called backing, bruv. Someone give me 750 million, you'll never see me again, bro. You know what I mean? You fucking crazy.
You'll be gone.
How can you tell, man, that you're not backing managers at 750 million quid? Have some respect, innit? Do you know what I mean?
It's just over 5 seasons. Crazy, absolutely crazy, ludicrous. Right, do you know what? We haven't even looked at the Burnley game yet coming up. But
yeah, big up, bruv, big up Luke Shaw as well, fam. Because it's one of them ones where, as I said on Twitter, like I've always questioned his attitude and his conditioning, as of loads of other managers, but I've never questioned his footballing ability. Last season, I was screaming for him to start ahead of Ashton.
We all was, yeah. I remember, yeah.
You know what? And respect where it's fucking due, mate. Like, he showed me what he can be Do that for the rest of the fucking season, bruv, and you're England's best left back and you're one of the best left backs in the league, bruv. That's what we want to see.
100%. I agree. That was a breath of fresh air, because if we're looking at the Tottenham game quickly before we go on to this week's game, I'm in two minds now. Well, no, I'm not in two minds. I've almost changed my mind. And I don't mind saying that. When I have a knee-jerk reaction or something, I will always admit it. I have no shame in doing that. I was very happy with the first half performance, right? I saw things that I hadn't seen before. Maybe not the selection, so Herrera being in that back three, it went wrong in the end, and he might have done all right for some bits, but he's not that, yeah? And but I did like, obviously, the 3-5-2. I can't knock that. What I was thinking is, I was getting maybe drawn into, we had a great first half and we had so many chances. We should have been 2-3-0 up, I heard us saying. And do you know what I mean? But then you said it as well in your fan cam as well. And when I thought about it afterwards, it simmered. The chances that we played almost to our best, if you think about it.
And couldn't score.
And couldn't score. Now, yes, if Lukaku scores the goal that they gave us that chance. Yeah. Yes, we hurried them into it. You could argue from tactics, but it was a chance that they gave to us. It come from a mistake. If we would have scored, that would have been a different game. I agree. But if you think about it, we played good for 45 minutes, and that was the only clear-cut chance.
We didn't open them up.
So we played our best against Tottenham. It's almost like Tottenham probably thought, do you know what? That's their best.
Yeah, that's what they got.
We've dealt with it now, and then they turned the screw. They did. Yes, we let them in because we had a lapse of concentration from the corner. But were we really as good as we thought we were?
No, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say to people. I told you, attacking is our biggest weakness, bro. Because you see, when we do have sustained pressure like we had, the place was rocking, the fans were amazing. Like, where I was sitting was mad. Do you know what I mean? We were like smashing the advertising board.
Yeah, I heard kicking and banging.
I'm telling you, we were making so much noise, man. I was sitting right at the front. Bang, bang, bang. It was mental.
Because you could feel the momentum building. That press was good. You had Luke Shaw pressing hard up the pitch. Trippier couldn't play. Valencia high up the pitch. Rose couldn't get out.
Yep. Rose did not cross the halfway line. We pushed them back. We were battering them. But guess what? Nothing. Can't open teams up, bruv, because we don't have it. We don't have it. The little intricate plays, the runs. Differences with Tottenham, when the ball goes out wide, Eriksen gets his foot on the ball, head up. You got Ali breaking in. Do you know what I mean? Mora running in, Kane moving in. Then Dele Alli getting the ball on the other side, coming inside. We don't have any patterns. Our attacking patterns, we're so poor. Like, we're just waiting for a mistake or a beautiful weighted pass or something like that. The runs off the ball are fucking non-existent, bruv. That's why players like Pogba get frustrated and he gets caught on the ball.
Was that defeat Jose's fault? Because I have to still stand by what I said, though. What I do agree with, like I said before, is the tactics and the formation of the first half, because obviously it went to shit in the second. But I liked from the very beginning, maybe not the personnel that he picked for each position, but I had to say, Jose, do you know what? You had a clear plan for what Tottenham was going to do, and you nullified them with your game plan to a certain extent. So really, you got to big him up on that.
No, it was good, man, but that's the shape that we should play all the time. I said it in pre-season. We need to play two up front, whether it's a 4-4-2 diamond or a 3-5-2. We need to play two up front. We don't have wingers. We've got fullbacks. We've got Luke Shaw, who's a fullback. We've got Valencia, who's a winger. And he's actually better as a fullback because defensively he's very suspect. So we need the extra man at the back. Like, it makes sense. Play two up front because we have 4 strikers at the club. Sanchez, Lukaku, Martial, Rashford. We're chasing a fucking game, yeah? And we don't have Martial in the squad. And Rashford doesn't come on. We bring on the fucking tree instead, blood. Do you know what I mean?
Obviously, it just went all long and direct from there.
Come on, we just knew nothing was going to come of that. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're chasing a game at home.
What about... If you look at the back, yeah, he went for the 3, which was good to do. But you look at the personnel. Sticking Herrera in there, for me, yeah.
Instead of a Rose.
Bailly was out the squad.
Yeah.
Lindelof was on the bench. If you're a centre-half and you're saying, my manager doesn't even trust me in a back 3, where there's going to be 3 of us, he'd rather put a centre mid there. And in the end, I think with Herrera, he's that type of player where I think that's why Jose did it, which is, I need you to do me a job. I need you to just run and smash it. He's tenacious. Fair play, but he's no centre-half. And in the end, I think Herrera was stuck between whether to bomb on, and his natural instinct is to go forward and try to get tackles high up. You're in a back 3, you can't always do that. And I think in the end, that I think for the second goal as well was kind of his fault on that side. Yeah. And I just think, what now does that say to people like Lindelof, to people like Bailly. That to me, that's an ultimate insult.
Fuck that. Even before that, the guy bought these 2 centre-backs. Then he came out in pre-season and said, I want a centre-back. If we don't get a centre-back, we're going to struggle this season. What the fuck does that say to your 2 centre-halves? His man management is abysmal, mate. If Jose likes you, he'll blow smoke up your ass like he told Frank Lampard he's the best centre-mid in the world. Never been. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, let's be honest, innit? Do you know what I mean? He blows smoke up your ass if he likes you. Yeah. If he doesn't like you, he treats you like shit, bruv. Do you know what I mean? That is why it's either Marmite with Jose. Either players love him, like the Zlatans, or they fucking
there's no in between, is there? You do see people talking about Jose, and most, because some people argue, oh, well, look at all these past players who have said that Jose is good. They can't be lying.
Yeah, he blows smoke up their ass. Do you know what I mean? If he loves you as a person, because it's a personality thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I read even Ozil's book, some of the shit he said to Ozil was like, I would have punched him up. Like, it was personal, bruv. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you don't say these things to people. And it's like, he does that. If he doesn't like you as a personality, then it's personal with him. Like, he just will not play you, innit? Like, and that's it. Like, even if it's to the detriment of the team, you're not playing. And that's just what it is with him. So, Bailly and Lindelof, they're 2 very young players, like, for centre-halves, early 20s. Yeah. And you've given them a big vote of no fucking confidence by telling them that if we don't get other centre-halves in, we're fucked, basically. And then Lindelof comes on and makes a mistake because he's shitting himself because he's been pulled out of the fucking firing line in the first big game of the season, shall we say. A massive vote of no confidence. You played the centre-mid instead of him.
Exactly. And to be honest, you look at it on a different point. I know it's if buts or maybes. Exactly. Well, the guy can play. If you look at it from... I know if buts and maybes, but if he plays that same centre-back pairing, right, and we win the game, think of the confidence that would then bring them to, especially after such a bad performance. And I hate to keep going back to Sir Alex days because I don't want to be accused of being that Man United fan who just can't get out of that mode. And that's not what it's about. I'll just say it as it is. You think Sir Alex would have thrown them man out the team like that? Bro, he's putting his arm around them like that Vidic and saying play. He was terrible in his first season. And Evra.
He died. Vidic and Evra were shit, bro. And Nemanja Vidic, when you think, that Bailly's been our best centre-back for 2 years. Nemanja Vidic was
he hasn't even played consistently.
And Nemanja Vidic, remember what Fernando Torres used to do to him? He used to rip his asshole out, bro. Like, after 10 minutes, Vidic was booked and treading the tightrope to getting sent off, blood. And did he get dropped the next penalties? Game? No, he didn't. He's doing everything. Like, Vidic had some mares. Absolute nightmares. What did Fergie do the next game? You fucking play him, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what you do. Like, players want to make up for mistakes by playing. You don't let someone have an absolute shitter, and then pull them out the squad completely. Yeah,
not even on the bench. Like for Bailly, more so. Yes, you can argue he's a professional footballer, deal with it. I get all that. But like I always say, these people are human beings first. And principles and morals come before a lot of stuff, before the money, before the fame, before the cars.
He's been our best centre-back for the last 2 years, comfortably. There's been no one near him.
And then you look at Jones coming to the side again. Yeah. All right, he might have done all right in the first half against Harry Kane. Free-header Harry Kane, and then there was a couple of other moments. Smalling got rinsed by Moura. Like, so what? Is Jose just going to throw them 2 out the team? Because I bet he won't. If Jones didn't get injured... I bet he won't. Well, Jose's already said, actually, it'd be Smalling and one other for the Burnley game. So drop your views in the comments on the boxes on that. Is Jose unfair to even go and take those 2 centre-halves out the game? Can you understand why he did? I don't know what you think on that. We're going to finish off on the Burnley game, looking at that. Someone said to me today, I done a little Q&A on Instagram yesterday on the United Stand account. Shout out you lot for getting involved in that as well. What do you think our starting lineup would be, or what would we go? I said that's a question for God.
Yeah, that's it, bro. Like,
I said that's a question for God. Who knows?
I said we change our players and our personnel depending on who we're playing. Like, we don't have a consistent 11, so because we don't have a consistent style, we don't have a consistent philosophy. It's all a joke. Like, it's like cup final settings, blood. We play like a small club. We play like we're fucking. I don't even want to disrespect teams like Everton because even they don't do that anymore. Do you know what I mean? But we play like we're fucking West Brom. Or we're Sunderland and we're going away from home to a club and we need to stifle them, so we're going to play this person here this time, and we set up according to our opponent instead of going out there, having our way of playing and just blowing people away. That's what big clubs do. We don't play like one. We got a small club mentality because the manager's got an underdog fucking mentality, bruv. Like, he thinks he's still at Porto or something.
But and that comes because also He genuinely, you can tell, he obviously believes that we're not good enough, which is a worry with the players he got. He believes, and that goes back to the argument of, did he get the buys that he wants, etc., etc. How many of the buys were his, all of that jazz. But he obviously believes we're not good enough. But with that Burnley game, what's your gut feeling of what he would do? He's already said it will be smaller than one other.
Home, and it's going to be a tough game. So I believe that he's going to do pretty much more of the same, tried and tested. Probably go back to the 4-2-3-1, but it'll be more of the same. It'll be your Matic's. It'll be your Pogba's. Do you know what I mean? It'll be your Lukaku's. Do you know what I mean? I expect to see Jesse start.
Alexis will probably start.
Alexis will probably start as well.
Back four, in terms of, obviously, Luke Shaw's obviously playing well, so he will definitely keep his place.
It will be Smalling and Lindelof probably.
You think Bailly could get a nod?
No. I think Smalling and Lindelof probably, because Lindelof was in the squad. I don't think Bailly comes straight back in, and then Valencia at right back, bro. Like, do you know what I mean?
Fred, do you think he'll keep his place, or do you think... What do you make of Fred? Because he's had a difficult start. I thought Fred played well. But first half, he's shown in patches that he can play. Do you think Jose should still keep playing him, keep letting him? Because he seems to be doing it with Fred. He was bad against Brighton, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But Pereira weren't even in the squad, so his confidence is now going to be down.
That's why he went on loan, bruv. Everyone was like, oh, it's his attitude. No, because he knows as soon as the going gets tough, Jose is going to pull him out. That's why he went on loan, and he was justified. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what it is. Fred has done well. In a team that passes and moves, Fred will be fucking dynamite, because that guy doesn't stop running. He tries to take 1 or 2 touches, and he tries to go forward all the time. And he was very encouraging in the first half.
He was. If we're looking at Burnley as a side, I mean, I think it's always a tough game going to Turf Moor. Always. And, you know, for them to get European football this year, I know they're playing their qualification rounds now, but, you know, that shows what a good season they had last season. Yeah. And they didn't make too many signings as well. So they're pretty much the same outfit under Sean Dyche. It was always a tough game. But you could argue that it's probably a good time to play them, because they're 3-1 down against Olympiacos. Well. Yeah, exactly, that's what I was going to say. It's also a good time to play us. You know, do you think Burnley will look at it that way? As, do you know what? Yeah, we're going through what we're going through, and we're 3-1 down, and we're struggling with this Thursday games and all that. But I tell you what, Man United are not in a good place. Or do you think Sean Dyche will think they're still Man United?
I don't think that Burnley are going to worry about Europa and that. Like, they're going to be playing on pure adrenaline. They're just happy to be there. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So that's not extra games, bruv. Remember, these men played in the Championship Tuesday.
Little Burnley, yeah.
Tuesday, Saturday, all that. Do you think they give a shit about a bit of Europa League, bruv? These men play fucking 60 games a season anyway. Do you know what I mean? So they're not going to care about that. They do the Tuesday, Saturday every week. So this isn't going to affect Burnley. Like that's wishful thinking if people think that that's going to affect Burnley. I believe we're still going to see the same Burnley that we always see. It's going to be a tough game, bruv, and we're just going to edge it, bruv.
You think that's what I was going to say? What do you think the score?
2-1. I think we'll edge it 2-1. Like, I think it's going to be a difficult game, bruv. It's going to be an ugly game. They're going to come out. They're going to be intense. They're going to press. They're going to put us under pressure, bruv.
Last year, Ashley Barnes, man, he's a handful. And then Vokes come on, he's a handful as well. They've got some good players, man. On us, if we lose, just creating scenarios here, I'm not trying to be negative, because I think we'll get a narrow win too. I'm going to say, I think 2-1 as well. I agree with that. If the unthinkable is to happen, it's not unthinkable, but if it is to happen and we lose that game or even draw, what do you think happens then? What do you think the mood?
Bruv, that's 3 L's, isn't it?
3 L's, then we go into the international break, 3 in a row.
Time in my life, yeah, that United have had more losses than wins, bruv. Like, I can remember. Like, do you know what I mean?
In recent times, yeah. even under LVG and that's the most worrying thing. Then we go into the international break, which obviously you just want another game. When you lose, you just want another game to put it right. We have 2 weeks off, and then we have Watford away.
We need to win this, like, just so we can kind of go into the international break and say, you know what, clean slate when we get back, start the season again. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's imperative for us. Watford away is going to be a hard game. They're playing well as well.
Very difficult. So if we lose or draw, it's not the easiest game to come back into.
It's not, man. Do you know what I mean? And
then we got Wolves at home after that.
If we don't get 3 points out of this game, then, like, top 4 is starting to get tetchy, bro.
Because you can't go catch up this early on.
No, not this early on, especially when our rivals are picking up 3 points comfortably.
Yeah, easy.
You know what I mean? Comfortably slapping teams up. Like, we can't afford to not get 3 points here. This is a big game.
Guys, we've come to the end of the show, man. 40 minutes has just absolutely flown by. We could, listen, the support you guys have been giving us is absolutely fantastic. It's all about opinion. We've discussed a lot today, from Jose's madnesses to the board, to our recruitment policy, to the Tottenham performance, to whatever. We've spoke about it today. Drop your views in the comments in the boxes below about everything we've spoken about. We love hearing from you guys. Make sure you get at us on the social. FlexUTD on Instagram, FlexUTD on Twitter, and obviously join the United Stand Twitter account, and obviously Rants and Bants, man.
On Twitter, on Instagram, guys, man. Just keep it interactive. We love your comments. Just keep them coming, man.
Exactly. We're going to see you lot next week. Hopefully, after we've beaten Burnley, and we've got some more positives to talk about, because we need some positives right now, man.
Yes, we do.
I want it to be more bants when I'm with this guy, but at the moment it's a lot more rants.
We need a big performance. We need a big performance, guys, man. You know what I mean? Just stuff Burnley and we'll be great.
Laters, people.